Hello, I'm Geetha Gurumuthu. Thanks for joining us. We're returning to our top story in the Middle East, where a large-scale Israeli military operation in the occupied West Bank is continuing into the second day. Israel says 5 Palestinian fighters were killed whilst hiding in a mosque in the city of Tulkarm. According to Palestinian sources, the death toll has now risen to 17 people since Israeli military operations began. The BBC has not been able to verify those figures. Earlier, the UN Secretary General called on Israel to halt its major military operation in the north of the territory immediately. Well, I'm joined by our Middle East correspondent, John Donnison, who is in Jenin. John, just bring us up to date with what's going on where you are.
Well, here in Jenin, 8 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli forces since yesterday, 1 person today, and we just actually saw an Israeli military bulldozer head towards the refugee camp which sits behind me in Jenin. So this operation is ongoing. A lot of the focus is in Tulkarm, as you say, which is a Palestinian city to the west of here. Just driving into Jenin this morning, all but one road was closed, blocked off by the Israeli army, and we were told and warned by Palestinian taxi drivers that their cars were being shot at by Israeli soldiers. Israel, for its part, of course, says it's carrying out a counter-terrorism operation and is trying to protect its citizens.
And what is the response of the people that you might have spoken to, and how are things likely to unfold in the next few days? Have we had any guidance from the Israeli military?
Well, in terms of what people are saying to us here, we were just basically asking people on the way into Jenin whether it was safe to go in, and people are obviously worried. Normally this is a vibrant, bustling, busy city, and today it is absolutely deserted. All the businesses virtually are shuttered up, and no one is out on the streets. Everyone is in their homes. As for how long it's going to go on, well, we don't really know. Israel says, as I say, that they are determined to tackle militant groups here in the northern West Bank. They say that they have been stockpiling weapons. Israel alleges that those weapons are being funded by Iran. And certainly when I was in Tulkarm late last year, you do see people, militants, with very, very sophisticated weapons which cost a lot of money on the black market. Now, people tell you that many of those weapons are actually being smuggled in by criminal gangs from Israel, although some smaller weapons are coming in from Jordan.
And John, have the Israelis given any further information, or is it known on the ground about which militant groups are operating there?
Well, the one they are sort of making the most announcements about is a senior commander in Nur Shams, the refugee camp in Tulkarm. He is affiliated with Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and they say he was killed yesterday in an Israeli operation there. We have had a statement from Hamas's military wing, which came late yesterday, saying 6 of its members have been killed, but we are also aware from doctors at the hospitals in this part of the West Bank that a number of civilians have also been killed too.
John Donnison, thank you very much there, live in Jenin for us. Well, a little earlier I spoke to Aisha Mansour, the West Bank Director for Medical Aid for Palestinians, and she told me about her work and what she has seen on the ground.
Thank you for having me. Our work focuses on supporting the healthcare system, and part of it is also supporting the emergency response. Since yesterday, we're seeing the largest invasion by the Israeli military into the West Bank since the Second Intifada, since 2002. We woke up yesterday morning to news that the Israeli forces have invaded the towns of Jenin, Tulkarm, and Tubas, as well as Nablus later, cutting off the north and limiting access to the north, with major attacks going on in those towns.
And what does that mean? What does that mean for the people that you are working with?
Yes, I mean, today the news is that there have been 18 people killed. With our partners are reporting that accessing healthcare and accessing the injured have been very difficult during this invasion. The paramedics, PRCS, Palestine Red Crescent Society, has reported that their teams are having difficulty being able to access patients and injured in order for them to provide the healthcare needed and take them to the hospitals that are needed. We're also hearing from our partners that hospitals are being blocked, and anybody coming into a hospital or leaving a hospital is being checked, ID checked by the Israeli military.
And in terms of how many of your staff are able to move around and how they are affected too, can you give us a sense of how big your charity is without obviously giving away any difficult details?
Yes, most our team members are based here in Ramallah, where I'm based. And actually, yesterday, on the day of the invasion, our team members were supposed to go up to Jenin to meet with some of our partners, including the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. Unfortunately, they weren't able to go because of the invasion. So these kinds of regular invasions that have been occurring since 2023, but even more frequently since the war on Gaza starting last October, these invasions have really limited the ability for our team to travel and access those areas to follow up with our partners. It's also limited the work of our partners. Our partners are having more and more difficulty accessing the healthcare facilities, accessing the patients, and really under international humanitarian law, healthcare workers should be able to do their work. They should be able to access patients. Patients should be able to access the healthcare services they need, and they should be able to do all of that safely without being attacked. WHO reported that since last October, there have been over 500 attacks on healthcare personnel and facilities. This is against international humanitarian law.
Obviously, the Israelis might push back on the term invasion, and they say that they are targeting militants, terrorists, as they put it. In terms of the risk to civilians for any military operation, can you give us a sense of what life is like in terms of where people live, how densely packed people are?
Yes. Well, based on the reports we're receiving from our partners, people are unable to leave their homes. I mean, they're basically stranded in their homes while all of this is happening. While this is happening, the Israeli forces are destructing the infrastructure. So the water system is destroyed, electricity is infected, communication lines are impacted. So people are stranded in their homes without electricity, without water, without being able to go out in fear of the snipers. And one of our partners reported that some people in Tulkarm tried to leave their homes and were shot at, and they immediately returned to their homes. About a month ago, just to give you an example, about a month ago, we visited, and I, along with my team, we visited Tulkarm camp to visit one of our partners. And on the way to the camp, we saw the destruction that had happened from a previous incursion, Israeli incursion. I mean, the whole side of the road, one side was fixed, and we were able to drive despite it being a dirt road still, not paved. But the other side of the road was extremely dug deep in, very deep down. People living on that side of the road would not be able to leave their homes because the road is, I don't know how many meters down from where their homes are. So this is the situation.
Aisha Mansour, West Bank Director for Medical Aid for Palestinians, speaking to me earlier.